Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You are here with your channel hosts, GBHL James.
GBHL Jamie.
What could this mean, Mr. Giblin?
Is it finally time?
Oh, I don't know, is it time? Are we ready for this?
I don't know. Don't we need to do... Yeah, it's Mordor Sourcebook review time. I'm just thinking, don't we also need to do some Harad stuff?
No.
No?
No, we've done...
Can we get all them?
I'm pretty sure we've done all of them.
Do we do the Mummock? Because I know some people were complaining about that as well.
I'm sure we did them. Somebody who's a channel geek, go out there and check. I know there are plenty of you out there who know every single video and everything that's happening every minute of every single video, whereas we don't. So go and check that out. We are finally doing Mordor Sourcebook review, which the only reason it's not been done
we thought we had.
And I think it's because we've talked about so many other things.
So many raids, so many... We did the Sauron unboxing, which is the entire reason why we thought we'd done it.
It is the entire reason. It is though, because it was around the same kind of time.
Yeah.
Around the same kind of time.
I think what we thought we'd do probably is release that as part of the Mordor Sourcebook.
And then probably released it because we wanted to put content up.
Yeah.
And then had no idea that we had.
I thought, that's gone up, so we've done it. Yeah.
Now, we're not too sure how we're going to divide this down. Normally, we have done things as Heroes and Warriors.
Heroes Warriors, yeah. It's a big old book.
But this is quite a big one, isn't it? It's a very substantial book.
But it also contains a lot of stuff we've talked about before.
Which does mean that we've got absolutely we can't plan at all for how long this is going to take us. Yeah. So we're going to crack on. We think that we might be dividing it into 3 videos, but there's a possibility it might be 2. We might talk about Sauron and the raids.
Yep. The rest of the heroes, the troops, and then maybe even the monsters, because I know there are lots of monsters. But again, a lot of things will be able to point you back to the other videos. So.
We certainly will do. So we're gonna get through it, and we're gonna try and make these 20-30 minute videos. Yeah. As always, make sure you get your paints out because we're not going to be flashing up loads of images on the screen. It's literally just us talking about what we think about these things in here and what they're good for and the like.
With the big man, should we point just because he was a video on his own?
This guy here, Sauron, he does have his own video. Yeah. If you type in GBHL Sauron, GBHL Sauron, it should come up.
Yeah. Because we talked about him for 30 minutes or so, and you get to see the model. So
you get to see the model, the Finecast version, the problems with the Finecast. We talk about the metal version, all that kind of stuff. So that's him done. This video might very much be like that. So think of it more as a reference video, especially if you do want to learn more about Mordor. We will probably be signposting. It's one of the reasons why we did it last, is because there's a lot in here which is covered in other source books. However, someone who isn't, it's the Mouth of Sauron.
Yes.
The Black Numenorian. That is the Mouth. Really love what they did with him in the movie. I'll start off with this guy. He is 60 points. He is 60 points. He can move 6 as any infantry model. He's fight 4 for a hero. He's got 4+ shoot value, strength 4, defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 4, and he's got 1 might, 4 will, and 1 fate. So
Shaman-esque.
He is Shaman-esque. That kind of low to midpoint caster. Yeah. Kind of heroic stats there. He's got armour included, which is why he's defense 5, and he's got an option to take an armoured horse for 15 points. Pretty good. Now he does have some magical powers to spend those 4 will points on. He can drain courage on a 2+, which I actually think is quite an underrated spell. If you've
very good.
Yeah, if you've got the opportunity to use it.
Yeah.
And the time to use it, then it can be pretty good. Terrifying aura on a 2+. That's right. He can transfix on a 3+. And he can sap will on a 4+.
Okay.
So some okay spells there, and not bad casting, but only 4 will to do so. We don't see a lot of Mouth of Sauron, do we?
We do not, no. His points value and stat line is prohibitive when you compare him to a basic Wraith.
It certainly is. It certainly is, and especially if he's going to come up against other raids and things in the meta, he's going to be sapped will pretty quick. His magic is going to become null and void effectively. The fact that he's only fight 4 and defense 5 means he's not really a combat hero.
No.
But he's not a good enough caster, so he's one of these wishy-washy kind of profiles in the middle.
Trying to do a bit of both and failing.
What do you think about Model?
It's alright. It represents the film version quite well.
Yeah,
I quite like it, to be fair. I like the Armoured Horse one as well. Yeah,
I do like it, and I do like what Weta did in the movies with the Mouth of Sauron. I really loved it. It was very weird, you know, the way that they did the mouth and everything. It's really interesting if you go and watch the extended versions.
Yeah, the extended's got some fantastic bits in with them.
About him, yeah, definitely. However, I don't like the fact that they then use that to do the Black Numenorians. I don't like the Black Numenorians. But that's another Sauron. We don't see him a lot. You don't tend to see him in competitive lists, but sometimes you will see him in a fluffy Mordor list. But don't expect him to be winning any awards. Now we're going to come to someone who we have seen before.
It is the Witch King of Angmar.
And where can they find?
You can find him in our Angmar and Moria Sourcebook review, specifically the Angmar part.
Certainly can. So something to look forward to there. Now I don't think...
No, this is the only place you can get these from.
So that's interesting. So a real good opportunity to talk about something that I wish we probably talked about before the named ones, because it seems like a natural progression.
Yeah.
But what have we got, Jane?
We've got the basic Ringwraith, whose starting value is 55 points.
Cheap.
Very cheap. They move 6, they fight 5 with a 4+ shoot, strength 4, defense 8, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 6, 0 might, 7 will, 0 fate.
Now the thing is with that stat line, it's a base, isn't it?
That is the basic version. So it's still quite good for a basic version as well.
55 points.
55 points.
It's very, very good. So you know.
And you may include up to 8 of these, but for every named one, that they count towards the total number of Ringwraiths. Obviously they can only have 9, one of which being the Witch King himself.
Yeah.
And then every named wraith reduces the number of Ringwraiths you can have by 1.
Oh, that's very interesting. Now, straight away that profile screams out, you know, it's not a combat profile, is it?
No, it is not.
It's not a combat profile.
This is a caster, very much so.
He's very much a caster, and immediately probably a stronger caster than
Sauron.
And 5 points cheaper.
And 5 points cheaper, so far. Because
far.
these guys can go up to 110 points.
What? 110?
Yeah, so just like if you've watched the Angmar video, just like with the Witch King, you can increase these guys' might, will and fate by 1 for 5 points a pop. You can get them up to 2 might, 14 will and 2 fate.
So therefore, just like their Master the Witch King and how it's designed, is that these guys can be built to fit any force.
Yeah.
So depending on how many points you've got left, you want to bring a Wraith, you might consider sort of building one with
I'll drop one with a bit less will, but I'll keep him, 2 might, 2 fate, because he's my general in this list.
Exactly, yeah, so you can really kind of think, well, do I want to protect him in this way, do I want to protect him in that? And of course, they have spells which they can cast.
Which are Drain Courage on a 2+.
It's good.
Sap Will on a 3.
Very good.
Transfix on a 3.
Good.
Compel on a 4.
Good.
And Black Dart on a 5. So very strong casters.
They are very strong casters. It's a really good mix of spells.
Yeah.
Now what you tend to see when people first start playing with Ringwraiths, you tend to see people going for the big showstopper, the Black Dart. I'm sure you're exactly the same. I tend to find the Black Dart's really good when you need that wound on the general to steal the victory or something along those lines, or if you've got luxury to do it. But the best spells are Sapwell and Transfix, and even Compel on the 4+ is incredible. Yeah, incredible spell.
Just messing with your opponent's plans.
Yeah, definitely. Now they can take a variety of war gear, which we would have talked about before, but we'll go for it again.
I was going to say, they've got some more special rules. Obviously, the Harbinger of Evil, the Will of Evil, so they lose will when in combat, and -1 courage in 12 inches, and they cause terror. Yeah. But their options are a horse for 10 points, a fell beast for 50 points.
Cheap.
Yeah. An armoured fell beast, so a defence 7 fell beast for 70 points, and a horned fell beast, a strength 7 fell beast for 75 points. Which, those ones aren't so cheap, but still well worth it.
Yeah, and you can see straight away that you can use these profiles just like the Witch King, and that's how the Rays were originally built. We'll probably do a comparison now between basic and the named and why we see what going forward. But they're built so that they can be really versatile. They've got very versatile roles in your army, depending on how you kit them out, which is really good. Now, do we see a lot of basic Ringwraiths out there?
It depends entirely on the army, it tends to be. If they're the big showstoppers, then they'll be the named wraiths with their special abilities, usually on fell beast. But a Ringwraith dropped into a force is a very potent thing.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, a Ringwraith strength is usually its casting ability, and its weakness is the fact that it's only got so much will, and they lose will when they go into combat, and obviously only have so much will to spend. As well as the fact that unless you kit them out quite expensively, they're not necessarily combat orientated models. However, one of the reasons why we don't tend to see them as much in sort of the competitive list or going alongside as the big competitive showstoppers is the new creations, the GW creations.
Yep.
Which of course are the named raids. So if you fully kit one of these guys out and you've got 2 might, 14 will and 2 fate, and you're spending 110 points. For just an extra 10 points, you can get one of the named wraiths.
With probably better stats than that, and a special rule in tow as well.
And usually those special rules, of course, take away the weaknesses that Ringwraiths have. I actually really love the basic Ringwraith profile.
They're really good. I played with 8 of them, and the Witch King in Scotland, and they did fantastic for me.
A very well thought out, really well thought out. I think it works very well in the game, and it's just a shame that you perhaps don't see as many of them. I do love. It is nice when you see the 9, or as you try to do the 9.
I did the 9.
Do you have all 9?
I don't know.
Do you have the Witch King?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good man.
The 9 and the Fellowship.
Very cool, very cool. It's amazing to see on the table because again it makes you think about the movies, and I think the models are
really
lovely,
nice.
really lovely. In fact, if anybody wants to send me the
9
on foot and mounted, I would love that because it's definitely a piece that I would put in a cabinet.
Yeah.
Okay, now. So that is the Ringwraith profile, which brings us on to one of the stars of the movies and books.
Yeah.
It's Gollum. Do your Gollum impression, please.
I don't have a Gollum impression.
This is a 0 point Gollum.
0 points.
You do have a Gollum impression.
Do I?
Yes, you've done it before. It was really good.
I don't think I have then.
Is there video evidence of it?
Find it then.
Ha! Please go and find it. Jamie doing his Smeagol impression. So this is a 0 point Gollum. 0 points. Interesting. We'll talk about that in a little while. He's got movement of 6, fight 4, shoot value of 5, strength 4, defense 4, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 4, 1 might, 0 will, 1 fate. Totally worth his points.
Yeah.
Totally worth his points. 0 points for that. Very interesting. Now, he does have a special rule of Cave Dweller, which is...
he gets to... it's changed, doesn't it? It's now +1 to climb rolls.
+1 climb, there we go. And he does have the following special rule. Okay.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah, it's a long one, and I will read it out because it's important. Okay, so Gollum can be included in the evil player's force if the ring bearer is included on the opposing side. Regardless of the scenario you are playing, Gollum is positioned on the table once both sides have placed all of their other models. He must be placed within 6 inches of the ring bearer. Okay, so that's important. So immediately, what does that tell us about this profile?
It's for fun.
It's for fun. It's a scenario piece. So long as the ring bearer is alive, no good model, including the ring bearer, can harm Gollum. They cannot shoot, cast sorcerer's blast, or strike blows against him, nor hurt him in any way. Good models are allowed to charge Gollum and fight, but will strike no blows if they win. Once the ring bearer is slain, Gollum becomes an enemy and can be shot and fought in the same way as any other model. Gollum is always controlled entirely by the player who has priority that turn. Whichever side has priority takes control of Gollum and moves him, fights with him, and so on. Regardless of which side controls him, Gollum must always move to within 6 inches of the ring bearer in the move phase if possible. If impossible, he must move as close to the ring bearer as he can. If Gollum attacks and slays the ring bearer, he automatically puts on the ring when his opponent is killed. Once Gollum puts on the ring, he will run away and will never be heard of again. The model is removed and counts as a casualty. It's a scenario piece.
It's very fun. You play it with friends because you want to have Frodo and Gollum.
However, I have received questions in the past, and I didn't really know anything about 0 point Gollum. Yeah. People were asking if they can bring him to tournaments.
Yep. The GBHL committee have decided no. It's a ruling you may not bring 0 point Gollum because he just messes with the game in a way that's not meant to be played like that at tournaments. And
also, when you pick a list, you can't pick a list and have something in substitute. And because Gollum can only be included if the ring bearer is included, or a ring bearer is in the opposing side, that means that there's chances that he would be not able to be in the game, sidelined against people who don't have it. So that immediately tells me that
it's just a benefit for you if they have the ring.
Yeah, exactly. So
and they're paying points for that ring.
So the GBHL committee has decided no 0 point Gollum, but definitely a fun profile. And there's lots of nice sculpts of Gollum out there.
Yeah, there are some just lots of them.
Yeah. Which one have you got one?
I've got him eating fish.
Eating fish, yeah, that's a good one. I think I've got Gollum on the Rock. Gollum on the Rock with the fish, yeah. I've got that one as well. And a really nice one, him crawling down the...
Yeah, I've got the one on the rock eating fish.
Yeah. So there's good ones out there. And there's definitely some really nice pieces of art out there. People have painted them up nice, such as I think Murtaugh's done a really nice one. Okay, so next up, we've got...
So we'll say the ones that are in different videos, and then we'll just talk about the ones that are...
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So...
Betrayer is in Harad Number. The Dwimmer Lake is in Angmar. Kamul the Easterling is in the Easterlings bit, so Harad and Umbar section. Knight of Umbar is in the Umbar section, and the Tainted is in the Angmar section, and the rest are in Mordor only.
Wow, so there you go. So go and check out those videos. I will try and remember. Jamie certainly will when he goes and checks this. I'll certainly remember when I upload this video to put the links for those videos in the description below, so you can go check them out and maybe try and annotate if you're not on an iPad or whatever. You might see it click up on the screen at any point.
You've put some work in there for yourself.
I know.
Just go check the playlist that this video's in.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so the first one that hasn't been talked about yet is this guy.
The Dark Marshal. So Dark Marshal, they're all 120 points base.
Now, considering what we talked about before, that seems pretty good value.
10 points more than what we thought you'd be paying max.
Let's see what you get for an extra 10 points with this
So,
guy.
the Dark Marshal is moved 6 inches. Fight 6. So instantly, he's 1 higher than a regular Wraith.
For 10 points?
10
more?
points, yeah.
Wow.
Defense 8, 1 attack, 1 wound, crew 6, 2 might, just 12 will.
Okay, so he's lost 2
He's
will.
lost 2 will, and 2 fate. Special rules: Terror, Harbinger of Evil, the Will of Evil, and Rule Through Fear. All evil warriors, not heroes, within 6 inches of the Dark Marshal count as being in range of a banner.
Ooh, now that is pretty good.
Yeah, so big 6-inch banner. So if you were to include him and not bring a banner, you're effectively saving yourself 50 points because he's got the range of 2 banners.
Yeah. It's an interesting profile, isn't it?
He's a good leader of troops because you want to get him in combat because he's got fight 6, but he's probably best off because his casting values come onto are still good.
Yeah.
Sitting behind and boosting the troops.
Yeah.
As a marshal, a dark marshal.
A Dark Marshal, because he can go and do it. He can go and take on enemy heroes, which is something that not all of the other raves can do with the fight 5. And fight 6 is such a sort of key heroic sort of stat, as it were. But that 6-inch banner is key. So if you do see people take him, it does tend to be to buff up the rest of the force. And of course, you can whack him on a horse to do that, or an armoured horse.
Armoured horse, yeah. So his spells the same as a regular wraith. So Drain Courage on a 2, Sappill on a 3, Transfix on a 3, Compel on a 4, and Black Dart on a 5. And he can take a horse for 10 points, an armoured horse for 15 points, which they didn't have previously. A Fell Beast for 50.
Oh, really?
Armoured for 70 and Horn Fell Beast for 17.
So you couldn't take an armoured horse with...
Not with a regular wraith.
Ah, so there you go. So already an additional sort of option.
5 points bonus, basically, to have a defense 5 horse.
Now I think with the Dark Marshal, there are a couple of things we'll probably mention. You probably don't see him as, because it sounds very good, doesn't it? You probably don't see him as much because of sort of a hierarchy of raids that you take, but it's also because his role is quite...
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, his role is quite dual.
Yeah.
His role is quite dual because the 6-inch banner is incredible.
And 12 will isn't a lot for a wraith when you're paying 120 points, especially when we see what the others have got.
Yeah, it's not a lot, and really, he's got no way of getting it back. And because he's got no way of getting it back,
Just
that's 12 combats.
Yeah.
He's got to do a lot. He's got to do a lot in that. He needs to be killing more than 10 points each time, and that's if you're not taking him with anything else. And you've got to make that decision. Do you take him on a Fell Beast? So do you get him more of a banner?
You definitely do.
I think you definitely do. But then, of course, that increases what you're spending. Which brings on to the next one, which we haven't talked about yet. It used to be very huge in the meta.
Yes.
And it's coming back.
He still is. He's still very good.
Yeah, I'm starting to see a lot of him again.
Well, lots of Goblin Town, so you'll get lots of this guy.
It certainly will. It is the Shadow Lord. Again, 120 points, movement 6, fight 5, like normal Wraith, shoot value 4, strength 4, defense 8, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 5, so 1 less than the Knight of Umbar.
And just 1 less than all the raids. He's a cowardly wraith.
He's a cowardly Wraith. Ah, okay. Normal raids,
Courage
6.
6.
Courage 6 as well, brilliant. So a cowardly Wraith, and that's probably in line with his fluff and his theme and his role. Now he's got 2 might, which is good. He's got 14 will,
So
max again.
So the full max, yeah.
And he's got 2 fate. So at the moment, comparing him to a maxed out normal Wraith, he is down on the courage, but everything else is the same. Okay. Of course, he causes terror like the others, Harbinger of Evil, and he has the Will of Evil rule, so he loses will all the time. But next up is the reason why you see this guy. He creates a pool of darkness. A pool of darkness means that any shot against the Shadow Lord or any model within 6 inches of him will only hit on the roll of a 6. What do you think about that?
So it's blinding light for evil.
Blinding light for evil.
What did the evil suffer from? Good shooting.
Yeah. And I think this is one of the reasons why we're starting to see a lot more of this guy again. Probably two forces, although we don't see one as much. One is the emergence of Goblin Town.
Yep.
And obviously protecting that low
defense 3 against all bows, yeah.
Yeah, against all bows, especially those elven bows.
Yeah.
Is going to get those guys into combat, and also things like, of course, Reavers, which are low defence, get them with axes.
Hunter Orcs.
Hunter Orcs, yeah. So he's got a very useful role. We see a lot of this guy, don't we?
We do, yeah. And he's got. Usually you see him on his horse because they've all got the same options for war gear. Usually you see him on a horse because it keeps him nice and cheap. He's a caster, he's not a fighter, and he likes to protect the army.
Yeah.
But you also sometimes see him on a fell beast because he can still be a threat on a fell beast, as all of them can be.
Yeah, and he's a reasonable spellcaster.
Yep.
So he's got Drain Courage on a 2+. He's got Sap Will on a 3+, Transfix on a 3+, Compel on a 4+, and Black Dart on a 5+. Now, if you compare that to, what's the Nightborn Bar above him?
It's the same.
Yeah. Nightborn Bar's got harder cast.
Not as good, but has combat,
Yeah, so very, very different role with this Wraith. Very, very good, very useful.
Very good, yeah.
Very, very good, especially with shooting being so prevalent in the game. Which brings us on to the next guy.
The Undying.
We talked about him.
The Untainted,
yeah.
Well.
It's the Undying.
The Undying. Nearly everyone's general for this league final.
Or Goblin.
Or Goblin King, yeah. So, the Undying, 120 points basic, move 6, fight 5 with a 4+ shoot, strength 4, defense 8, 1 attack, 1 courage 6, 2 might, 20 will, no fate.
So he's getting 6 extra will, but he's losing his fate there compared to the normal Wraith with his basic stats.
Yeah.
However, you're going to see why there's no fate.
He has eternal willpower. The Undying may expend will points in the same manner as fate.
What?
So
he's got 20?
If you were to take that as he's only got 2 fate like everyone else, he then has 18 will, which is pretty good for 120 points. If you consider him in that way, he's the exact same as a regular Wraith. He just gets 6 extra will for 10 more points.
It's very, very good, and that's without even considering the next bit.
The next rule, Arcana Leech. The Undying regains 1 will point for every magical power successfully cast by other heroes within 6 inches of him. So if you couple him with another Ringwraith, who's a caster, the Undying is very hard to kill.
Oh yes.
Because he's recovering his will.
A great general to have, because taking him down is going to be tough.
He effectively has 19 fate.
And he's defense 8, remember. So although you're not necessarily wanting to get this guy into combat, you might not be too worried about him going down.
Going in, yeah. He can take horse, armoured horse, fell beast, and fell beast. And we tend to see him on a fell beast because although he's only fight 5, you're going to struggle to kill him.
Yeah.
And his spells are the same as everyone else's so far. They're all good casters from Mordor.
Yeah, and nice model as well. I like the end.
He's quite cool, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit more like the normal raids, isn't it? There's nothing too kind of fancy.
Yeah.
Nothing too fancy in there. And that brings us to the end of talking about or signposting you to the various ring raves, and I think that closes nicely part 1 of the Mordor Sourcebook review, because we've been doing this for just over 20 minutes. So
I think we should just do one last person before we continue, just because he fits in with this theme.
That is a great idea.
Sorry, just flicking through. We should do the Necromancer as well now.
What? The Necromancer? I completely agree.
Yeah, it makes sense him being with these guys.
Completely, not with the monsters, yeah.
So, Necromancer, 250 points.
So it's expensive.
Expensive.
What else is 250 points in the game?
A dragon, basic. That's what I know things by. How many dragons?
Yeah, that's why I said it for you.
As the Necromancer is in fact Sauron, spoilers, you can't take the Dark Lord, Sauron the Dark Lord, in your force. So you get the Necromancer or Sauron.
Makes sense.
His movement is 6, he is fight 7, so a very high fight. Strength 6, defense 8, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 6, 3 might, 25 will, star for a fate.
How interesting. Now that is a very interesting profile. It's a very interesting profile, because straight away you get fight 7, strength 6, you've got 3 might as well. This isn't going to be terrible in combat.
No. Well, he's still not. He's still got bonuses. No. So, this is one of the heroes who can buff the rest of the army. He's got options available to him. If your army includes the Necromancer, you can upgrade a number of orc captains to captains of Dol Guldur for 5 points a model. They gain fight 5 and a 4+ shoot value
That's good.
rather than fight 4 or 5+, so effectively swap them over. And you can upgrade your Mordor Orc Shamans to Dol Guldur Orc Shamans for 5 points extra, and they gain the power Wither instead of Transfix. Now Wither's a new spell, only available with the Necromancer.
Can I just point out that I've never played against Necromancer, so this is new to me. So my jaw is lowering, and I'm like, what? This is something new.
A spell?
I've not heard of Wither before.
Wither.
What would I do if I was playing against that? I've got no idea what it is.
So dice score to use, 5+. The victim has its strength reduced by 1 for the remainder of the game.
That's pretty good.
You could ruin some heroes with it.
You could really ruin some heroes.
Imagine if you were lucky enough to get that off twice, you got a strength 2 hero.
That's amazing.
You suddenly your defense 5 troops are 6 to wound.
Wow.
And
That's
if
good.
you include your regular Orc warriors can be Orcs of Dol Guldur for a cost of 2 points per model, and they have fight 4 with a 4+ shoot rather than fight 3 with a 5+ shoot.
That's big, but it's 2 points per
2 points per model, so then they become 7 basic, 8 with a bit of gear, which is still not terrible.
That's not bad.
8 points for a spearman who's fight 4, defense 4, so you've got 50 there.
I thought, yeah, because you're basically paying 1 point for the extra shoot value, which you might not use as much. But
Yeah.
4 plus shoot value is not terrible for evil.
No.
All of a sudden you can start doing a bit more.
Bow army.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not bad.
No, it's not. No, it's not terrible.
God, this is all new to me. I love it.
So he's got Terror, he's got Ancient Evil, so it's a -1 courage debuff, but with an 18-inch range, rather than 12. The Will of Evil, so when he's in combat he loses a will point. He cannot yet take physical form, so Necromancer can use will points as fate, just like the Undying, so he's got lots of fate.
Yeah.
And Drain Soul is probably his big buff here. Any enemy that suffers a wound from the Necromancer in close combat is automatically slain regardless of the number of wounds on its profile. A hero can use fate to resist as normal, so effectively he has a Morgul Blade for every round of combat.
That's really good.
And at fight 7 strength 6, if you trap something with him, 2 strikes.
Yeah, if he's supported.
Yeah,
I quite like him.
it's really good, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Ooh,
Can anybody send me one of these, please?
Yeah, we use him in our No My Angmar. Ignore the fact he's got 3.
He's cool.
Yeah. Spells, he's got Drain Courage on a 2+, Transfix on a 2+.
That's really good.
These are all 12-inch range, by the way. Compel on a 3+, Sap
brilliant.
Will on a 4+,
That's good.
and Chill Soul on a 5+.
Which we have talked about before.
We've talked about before with Sauron, which is the big... that model takes a wound,
Yeah.
or if you channel it, it's the big blast.
Now, I actually really like what they've done with the model as well.
Yeah, this is the old version of him when they had to make a... Can you lean forwards?
Yeah, because you've got...
I've got a dog on all that. But this is how they Games Workshop imagined him before the films even came out. This was a very old version of Sauron the Necromancer. I think really old.
I actually think they've done a really good job because it aesthetically it ties in nicely with Sauron.
Yeah.
You know.
You could see Sauron in there, like
Yeah.
with the
You can tell that it's the spirit of him, and that's key. And I have seen some great paint jobs since the new movies have come out, where they've gone for that kind of flamey kind of look instead, the shadow and the flame sort of background, and I think that works really well. Now, I actually think that's a really cool profile.
It's very good.
Do we see much of him?
Not a great deal now, because we currently have the sort of blue v blue and red v red, and he can get Sap Willed.
Yeah.
And that's his only sort of downfall, is playing other... A 55-point Wraith, or like a 70-point Wraith, could kill him if the
Good versus evil would be alright, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he's very good in good versus evil.
Good versus evil, you can see, even at 250 points, which is a lot of points, you could see him going in there. Now, I've been at tournaments where he has been, and the one that I remember most was when Kieran Street brought him with a troll army, and actually ended up on top table final game.
Yep.
Actually ended up top table final game. So he can do it. He can do it, but obviously with so many Ringwraiths out there,
It's just a little bit risky.
a little bit risky. I think that's a really nice way to end this first part, and means that you've got a nice half-hour long video, guys. So make sure you join us in part 2, where we'll be talking about some of the other heroes of Mordor.
The many heroes, the little heroes.
Yeah, there's loads of them.
There's like three or 4 pages worth.
A ton. So make sure that you've planned what you're going to be painting during that period of time. There's a lot of alliteration there. And don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe.
Support the Hobbit host by clicking the links below.
Make sure that you like our Facebook page and that you follow us on Twitter.
Support your Hobbit hobby.
And happy strategy battle gaming.